Good. Slightly afternoon. It's just afternoon here on the East Coast. Um, and I'm going to be playing another game of Immaculate Grid here. Before I get going, from yesterday's grid, I'd mentioned that there was a recent Toronto Blue Jays 20 game winner. And it was bugging me that I couldn't come up with. It was J.A. Happ in 2016. He won 20 games. So that was the answer to that one. And then also before I get going, I just want to say I'm a big Milwaukee Brewers fan, as clearly can be seen from some of those memorabilia behind me. And but holy cow on Ellie De La Cruz yesterday, he famously stole, now famously in the last 24 hours, stole three bases in about a minute on the Brewers to produce another run. Underrated moment was that he hit what for most people would be just a normal routine ground ball to the shortstop. Because he's so fast, like William Adames, who's usually a really good shortstop, he rushes the throw, and De La Cruz ends up on second base. I don't think there's a whole lot of people who cause Adames to make that kind of an error. So this guy is just lighting up baseball. Pretty insane to watch. I get to watch another game with him today, and clench my be all clenched as he every time he comes up to bat, because or anytime he's on the bases, because something interesting is going to happen. What a player. That guy's incredible. Anyway, um I'm going to start sharing here with the Immaculate Grid. There it is. I wonder if that was, so it looks like I think it stayed at about 10. So um, I'm going to just refresh the screen here. Great. Okay, great. We got the Milwaukee Brewers. So my bread and butter. We got the Brewers. We got the Rangers. We got the Royals. Got the Nationals / Expos. The Padres, who interestingly almost moved to Washington in the 70s. And then 30 stolen base season. I can come up with a few of those for the Brewers. All right, I can play ball with this, so to speak. Um, yeah, let's get going here. Couple options here for Padres and Brewers that I can think of. One is, well, first of all, I'm going to go with Mr. Immaculate Grid himself. I don't think that's his official name, but Reggie Sanders played for both teams. Dial that in. Same. That's the guy, yeah. All right, cool. And then Padres and Brewers, I can come up with a few people. Trevor Hoffman, I think, will get a lot of votes. Obviously, a very famous San Diego Padre. He did play a couple of years and get his 600th save with the Brewers. Had a really good year, 1 year with the Brewers before, finally starting to show his age a little bit. Mark Loretta had a huge year with the Padres in 2004, but I grew up watching him in the late 90s with the Brewers. Greg Vaughn, he hit 40 home runs in the 1996 season, which was split in between the Brewers and the Padres. I even have a Pinnacle Score baseball card of Greg Vaughn where it says, basically you won't see him. It was basically explaining it, like the reason you don't see him on the leaderboards is because he split time between the two leagues. And they hit 50 home runs in 1998 with the Padres. So all those people would be interesting picks. I am going to go a little bit deeper. I'm going to go to the early 80s to a gentleman named Sixto Lizcano. Who's involved, I believe he was involved in that Ted Simmons trade, then promptly flipped over to San Diego. 0.2%. Not even pictured. Not even pictured. What a sign of disrespect. But fantastic player. Let's see, 30 stolen bases in a season. Paul Molitor is going to get the lion's share of those. The single season record holder for the Brewers is Scott Pasednik, stole over 70 1 year. Braun and Yelich have both done it. Trying to see if I can get anyone more obscure, because I mean Braun and Yelich are fairly recent players. Scott Basetic, that '03 season, he was incredible. It should have been Rookie of the Year, I think. I think Dontrelle Willis won it. Maybe Dontrelle Willis was better. I'm actually second guessing myself on that. Let's see. Um, Tommy Harper in 1970. That actually might be the most obscure. He went 30-30. I think he was the second American League player to go 30-30 ever, and the first in almost 50 years. So I'm going to dial that in because I think that's going to be more obscure than these more recent folks. 1%. All right, off to a decent start here. So I'm gonna go for this one. I'm gonna go again late '90s Brewers, remembering that Nationals equals Expos, which means that I can go with Marquise Grissom, 2%, pictured with the Expos. See, so far so good. Let's see, Kansas City Royals who've stolen 30 bases. I think Whit Merrifield's gonna do really well on that. He's stolen 30 bases with the Royals. Um, but that's more recent. Willie Wilson stole 30 bases pretty much all the time in the late 70s, early 80s. What about Amos Otis? I think he was right before Willie Wilson. And I think probably stole that many bases. I think he'll be more obscure. 1%. All right, doing pretty good so far. Let's see. For this one, I'm going to take advantage, and it's a good thing they autofill here because there's no way I could spell this guy's name. The first try, there he is, Mark Reslonik. Who's an Expo, pictured with the Expos again. I'm taking full advantage of the fact that the Nationals used to be the Expos. Because that means it's less recent, and I think some people's association is just like they're not going to go straight to the Expos. So that's a pretty solid pick there. I do say so myself. And now we need to start identifying some Rangers. Get some Rangers. Here's an interesting one from history. Son, so in 1962, the National League MVP was a gentleman named Maury Wills, who stole over 100 bases. And it was like a throwback because up until the point, really in both leagues, like stolen bases had really fallen by the wayside. People were leading in the 50s, would lead the league with like 15, 20 stolen bases. It was not that uncommon, or stealing bases was uncommon. But then Maury Wills set a National League record, later broken by Lou Brock with 104 stolen bases. I think that's the number. Anyway, son, Bump Wills, I believe, is the all-time leader in stolen bases for the Rangers, and gotta believe he's going to work here, especially since his career was not that long. So he definitely had 30 stolen base season in there. 2%. All right. Three people without heads. Alrighty. So now we're going. Speaking of fast people who played for the Rangers, what about Otis Nixon? He played with both teams, pretty sure. 0.1% and no face. Four people without faces. All right, now we just need a player with the Rangers and the Padres. There's a lot of fast people. I mean, obviously it was going to be 30 stolen bases, but even here, like Marquise Grissom stole over 70 bases a few times. Otis Nixon, I think, stole as many as like over 70. Reggie Sanders, even. I think Reggie Sanders stole almost 300 bases in his career, if not more than that. So now we just need a player who is with the Padres and the Rangers. And nobody's like leaping out to me right away. So maybe I just go do my thing and go around the horn a little bit. Late 90s Rangers, you basically have Pudge behind the plate, not him. Will Clark, Rafael Palmeiro at first base, not there. Mark McLemore, I don't think so. Dean Palmer played for a bunch of teams. Fernando Tatis Sr. played for the Rangers, and then his son obviously plays for the Padres. That's not going to work. I don't think Royce Clayton ever made it over to the Padres. A-Rod obviously never played with the Padres. And you got Rusty Greer, Tom Goodwin, and Juan Gonzalez in the outfield. Yeah, no one there. So your Padres. Oh, you know who will work here? Had pretty prominent seasons with both teams is Kevin Brown. Because Kevin Brown started, I think that's going to be pretty popular, but I think I'm just going to go with it. Because he only played 1 year in San Diego, but it was a big year. Like, he really should have won the NL Cy Young Award that year. It went to Tom Glavine, but he was incredible, elite, everything. Played there for 1 season before setting a record by signing with the Dodgers. It was the first $100 million contract in MLB history, but he just won the World Series with Florida, came over to San Diego, and basically carried them to that pennant. And he got his start with the Texas Rangers. So I don't know how popular that's going to be. We'll lock it in. It's got to be that guy. Other Kevin Browns, but it's this one. 2%. All right. So rarity score of 11, just a little bit off from yesterday, but that's pretty good. I didn't have any no stinkers in this game. It was all people 1 to 2%, and then had a couple even less than that. Let's take a look at today's stats as I've been doing. So we're at about 100,000. Like I said, this is about noon. During the week, I'll probably be doing it. I mean, I've got work. I've got an actual day job. The dozens of you watching these videos are not enough for me to monetize just yet. So no, I've got a day job. So I'll do them later at night, and so these scores will be dialed in. Okay, people struggled with Nationals and Royals. Which makes some sense. Nelson Cruz played for a bunch of teams, so it makes sense that he's been pretty popular. Luke Voigt getting in here. It's not been spending a whole lot of time this season with Milwaukee, but oh yeah, Hader. Okay. Not kicking ourselves over that one at all, are we? I mean, Devin Williams has been great, but yeah, Yelich took about 40%. I imagine Braun took about 30%, would be my guess. Ooh, Adalberto Mondesi, son of Raul. Over half of people going with the Rangers selected Elvis Andrus. My second choice might have been Tom Goodwin. He was their leadoff hitter in the late 90s, like 98, I think. And yeah, Hosmer. That's who did I go with again? Was someone obscure? Reggie Sanders, of course. If Reggie Sanders works, you better believe I'm playing him. He's a superstar. Quick shout out to one of my all-time favorite players, Mike Cameron, would have worked here. So he plays this game. Spoiler alert: he doesn't do the sensitive content thing on his grids. So if you see Mike Cameron, he's going to give away some answers, but he almost always plays himself, and he definitely will play himself for the 80%. But he plays every day, and he was actually in the celebrity softball game that they were playing in Seattle last night. So I love Mike Cameron. What an incredible all around player. Cool. Well, this was fun as always. I'm just gonna keep making these videos, and have a happy rest of your Sunday. Take care, y'all.